Welcome to a Scrub's Guide to Fortnite Save the World. The game can be quite complicated as there is a lot of sections and it's not what a lot of people will expect, me being one of those especially. However, after a few weeks of really getting used to the systems of the game, I wanted to share this guide on the basics of Fortnite Save the World to get you started. Just to start off, what is it? Fortnite PvE is a third-person shooter with farming, crafting, building and so much more. The storm came from nowhere and 98% of the world population disappeared, essentially becoming the Husk. The Husk is the enemy that we face in this world, and unlike other shooters, you don't shake shelter or run for it, you make it. There are 4 primary classes of Hero, Soldier, Constructor, Outlander and Ninja. Each of these classes have different subclasses which will adjust their abilities to improve their performance in a given area. On Ninjas you could be a Sword Master, given more perks towards your Dragon Slash, or you could be a Shuriken Master which focuses on allowing you to throw more and just tear through enemies. This allows you to tackle the game with many different approaches and combinations, however you need these to drop from llamas or complete missions to obtain them. Your main stats are broken down into 4 sections, and this is through the word Fort. Fort is broken down: Fortitude, this is your health; Offensive, surprise surprise, this is your attack power; Resistance is your defense; and Tech is your abilities and trap powers. So there are various ways of increasing these stats, such as your skill tree, research tree, leveling up your heroes, survivor squads, there's a lot. So I'm trying to give you this kind of guide to give you a bit of an overview on where you need to go and how you can really maximise these stats. There are varying levels of items in the game following most MMORPGs, starting out with grey, which is common, green, which is uncommon, blue, which is rare, purple is epic, orange is legendary, and the final one is mythic, which is yellow. The higher level you get, the better they are, but of course each will require more resources to craft the higher you go. It's one of those kind of balancing off through the games as you progress. Essentially though, this is the kind of style that the game is. Here's your mission: go loot loot loot, do your objective, build a fort, build traps, shoot shoot shoot, and mission complete, get your XP, go back to your storm shield, upgrade, spend your resources, and then go and do another mission, rinse and repeat. Not a bad thing. I mean, it's actually quite a lot of fun when you take time to chill out, not like sweating in PvP, which is what I usually do most of the time. It's nice just to sit back in a chair and let my creativity go. It's pretty cool. Like I said though, behind all the shooting and looting, the system is quite complicated, so I wanted to give you a rundown of the menu so you know where you're kind of looking and what you need to do. So on the main screen there are lots of different tabs. Play is pretty straightforward and shows you your main quest line and rewards. You can flip between the quest pages and see high level rewards clearly displayed at the bottom. Secondly, we have the map, which has 4 main sections: Stonewood, Plankerton, Canny Valley and Twin Peaks. Currently we have Hexylvania as well, which is the Halloween event, and it's well worth playing and grinding through to get yourself some nice legendary rewards if you are new to the game. But as you further progress through all the missions, the new areas will become unlocked, and at each area you do have a storm shield which you have to defend. But selecting an area allows you to either select this storm shield or go to a mission or destination of your choice, handy if you need to obtain certain materials or parts for crafting, or just want to do something in particular or go and play with some others. The next screen we have is the hero screen. This is where you can see your player's stats, abilities, bonuses and more. It is also a way of directly accessing the upgrades for your heroes to improve them. Your health and shield power are prominently displayed with your fort stats below, followed by any squad bonuses. As you progress you can get some 2-star heroes which you can apply squad bonuses to your primary hero. Depending on what type of hero they are will depend on what perks they give, but this can be checked here. And you will also find on your travels defenders as well. These defenders can be deployed in games or on defender pads in your storm shield defense, just to give you a little bit of a hand, especially if you're running solo. These can really help turn the tide of battle. You can see a further breakdown of all your stats by selecting the See All Stats option, and it will go over your core stats, defense, movement, building, range combat, melee combat, normal combat, traps and resources. The squad section, it can get quite complicated. There's a few different activities that you can do here. The first one, the survivor squads, are comprised of survivors in your inventory and are unlocked via the skill tree section. These will improve your fort stats, and your survivors will also have different perks which can improve stuff like your trap damage, range damage, ability damage, health and so on and so forth. Matching perks up between your survivors in that squad will also give you an additional boost, so it's worth looking out for all these towards the end game as you're trying to refine your stats and tune your build. Next up is Defender Squads. Defender Squads are the AI people you can summon into your Storm Shield base to help you defend when you're trying to expand a shield. These will come helpful, as I said, of course, when you're running solo, but there's also a section for each of your storm-based defences. So it's worth, if you're going to do a certain defence and you want your defenders for that base, that they're in that location to be able to call in. Each defender has a certain role, such as a rifleman or bruiser, and you need to make sure that these are unlocked in your skill tree to be able to use them in your storm shield defence. Finally, there is the expedition squads. Now this is where you can get some materials whilst not playing, or obtain some survivors. They vary in time, difficulty and reward level, and some of them can give you a certain boost for using a certain type of hero to increase your chances of success. So this is a great way to just get some general loot while you're not playing, so always make sure that you've got a couple of people out on expeditions, but while you do an expedition, the hero you have chosen is not available to use. So take that in mind, don't send out your best hero if you're planning to play with him for the next 12 hours, and yeah, you've sent him on an expedition. You can cancel it early, but you don't want to be wasting time. The next tab we have is Armory, which is where you do a lot of levelling up and recycling. Schematics are the most important thing in the game in my mind. These allow you to build guns, melee weapons, traps, whatever you need is really from schematics. When you hover over a schematic, you can scroll between its modifiers, its stats, and see what is required to craft it. If you select it, you can upgrade it if you have the necessary materials, making it stronger, and also having the necessary skill node unlocked in the skill tree. When you evolve a schematic to a higher star rating, some materials required to craft the item can be changed, so always keep an eye out for this, as you might need some higher graded parts. You can also recycle schematics for schematic XP, and this is required for all the schematic upgrades. The same principle does apply with heroes, survivors and the defender section. However, heroes and defenders will use hero XP to upgrade them, and survivors use survivor XP, and we don't recycle people, we retire them. If you're retiring someone that has been leveled up, you will get a larger amount of XP back depending on what you've invested into them. So this is handy if you've got, say, a blue trap and then next thing a purple of the same type drops. You can go, okay, I'm going to dismantle that blue trap and get a big chunk of XP back and put it all into my purple trap. So it's quite a nice little feature. You're not wasting it if you do get something better in the future. You're just losing a certain chunk of it. I don't know what chunk, but you're losing a chunk. The collection book is up next, and this is a place for you to really put your doubles. These are permanent additions, so you can put in leveled cards to increase the experience rewarded, but once they're in, that's it, they're in. Each time you do increase the level of your book low, you will get rewards, so it is worth doing, and this does give you a nice little boost. Like I said though, be careful, because once you've placed a card into the collection book, you can't take it back out. So don't place your best hero or any of your great guns that you've got early on in the game, because you might find that you're not going to get another one for a long time. Next up is the transform section. During the game, certain transform keys will drop which allow you to infuse a number of cards into getting another one. This is determined by the type of key used, such as melee weapon, gun, survivor. Various ones will drop. Some of them are single use and others are consumable, so be sure to check that before you use them. You can use any duplicates or unwanted cards to transform each of them, and each has their own value. To perform a successful transformation, you need to get X amount of points, and it will tell you what you'll get in return. Usually it's the item of the transformation and some XP as well. It will also require you to use some research points, which actually leads quite nicely into the next section. In this section there is also inventory, but there's not really anything to look in there. It doesn't really show up anything, seems pretty pointless to me at the moment. So moving on to the skill and research trees, so our main stats are based around the fort system. However, there are additional things in the game that can be unlocked, such as abilities and skills, or accessing higher star levels and further increasing your storage sizes, because trust me, backpack size will become an issue. There's no doubt about it, it just will. There are currently 4 skill trees and 4 research trees. With each tier, the amount of points required for upgrades does increase, but the skill trees at the top enable you to get abilities such as the airstrike, supply drops. It'll also enable you to get better harvesting tools and increase your backpack and storm shield storage sizes. You can unlock the vehicles for expeditions, improve your building and speed and health. There are loads of nodes to unlock, but to earn points to do this you either have to play missions and complete tasks to get commander XP, which can be also boosted as well if you have any of these consumables by going into the menu and checking boosts. You can also unlock higher star levels for your heroes and weapons in this tree. You start out with 1-star weapons and heroes, and this will progress until you get up to 5-star heroes. The research tree is very similar to the skill tree, but uses research points which are gained over time. Starts off you get 54 per hour, but with each skill tree that does increase. There is a limit to the storage, but again this increases with each one, so you have to come back, spend them and use them for them to carry on storing up. The research tree is very similar. There are points to increase your fort stats and also to increase your party stats, which has a bonus to anybody else that's playing with you. The most important things that I would focus on first of all though is your harvesting tool level, so you can quickly farm resources, and increase your storage sizes. As I said, they're going to become a pain. Even I've got like an extra 80 to 100 storage space and I'm still having trouble. There is a couple of nodes that I would look out for, so this section can be very complicated and I'll come back to it in more depth further down the line. Next up is the loot tab. This is basically your in-game microtransactions where you get to either buy a llama for V-Bucks, which can be purchased for real cash. During the game you will get V-Bucks dropped. This will be from missions, completing daily quests. So if you're looking to do this RNG, buy your way into getting good schematics and that, which is fair enough, each to their own, you can do this in the store. This also gives you the opportunity to upgrade your package as well. Finally, there is the quest tab. The quest tab shows you everything you can do and what rewards you will get. There are various types of quests from your main, tutorial, hero, side, daily and your challenges. Like I said, the daily challenges are a very great way of getting V-Bucks. But you can still see all the requirements, pin the quest and play the missions directly from this section, which makes it easy enough to get straight into the appropriate mission rather than searching for it through the map. If you check the start menu you can see your fort stats, and these increase if you party up with others. If you select yourself you can also edit your banner and view your profile, and view anybody else that's in your party. As a final tip, if you check in the settings, which is the cog, there is going to be an option called the safe zone. For me it's Xbox safe zone. I'm sure there's a corresponding one for PlayStation and for PC, but I've adjusted this to 0. As you can see, there's a big difference between when it's set at 1, which was the default for me, to when I change it to 0. It moves all your HUD to the outside of the screen. It gives you a better view of the screen in the middle, so it doesn't seem as clustered. That's my personal preference, but let that be my final little tip for this guide. So that kind of wraps up this scrub guide to Fortnite. I hope this has given you some insight into the game and of course where everything is. Thanks very much for joining me, and until next time, take care.